Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time here on this Sunday night, September the 15th. Hope you guys are doing okay. How's morale out there? After another disappointing loss by the Tennessee Titans, there were some improvements. It wasn't all bad, guys. I swear to God, it wasn't all bad. And you know that I'm not one to take up for them when they lose games like this, but the fumble with Will Levis is going to haunt Titans fans because it's basically the exact same play that he made to lose the game, directly lose the game a week ago against the Chicago Bears. So we're going to start talking, or we're going to continue to talk about Titans fans losing faith in Will Levis after a questionable Jets loss. It was questionable the way that this game played itself out. I know it wasn't all Will Levis's fault. The fumble did not directly cost them the game. There were a variety of different plays that led to it, but damn, if that play in particular isn't going to live in your head because of the way that it went down and the way that last week looked in particular when it comes to the decision making. So we're going to get into this. Lewis L. Train Morgan says, losing faith, it's gone, my guy. Well, here's the deal. God help us, it's only week 2, right? I mean, this is, I swear it's not over in week 2, but I understand why there would be some really, really harsh feelings about the direction that this thing is heading. John Moreland on Facebook, or rather YouTube, says, same stupid shit, different Sunday. That's the problem with today in particular. It felt a lot like that Bears game, except the only difference being is your defense gave out in the second half because your offense couldn't sustain drives with 5 3-and-outs throughout the course of 60 minutes. So there's a lot of things to get into. We're going to work our way through it together. Tonight, of course, we're going to focus on the quarterback because the quarterback is always going to be a talking point. Ann Herndon says, I've lost more sleep over these games than he has. Who, talking about Levis? I don't know. I'm sure. I don't know if it makes you feel better or if it makes you feel worse that these decisions are going to haunt your quarterback. But he got to the podium today and he's looking pretty haunted. So we'll let you hear from Will Levis here in just a second. Before we get started, I need you guys to share this program around on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, because at least if you're going to suffer, you might as well suffer together. If you're hanging out on Twitter, please retweet the show. It's in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Facebook Live, you can share. You can share now to public. That's in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. If you're on YouTube or on Twitch, please subscribe to the channel, like the video. If you would be kind enough to do so, we always appreciate it when you guys share this program around. And we'll talk about this together because he's not going anywhere, Will Levis, for the foreseeable future. But if he continues to make decisions like this, then we're going to be talking about a much different thing this season than I think a lot of you guys anticipated. Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time. I just feel like I want to give you guys like a hug. Like I just feel bad when I say welcome. Normally, it's a whole we've been doing the same open to the show for the past 5-6 years at this point. Now I just feel like I want to give you an embrace. I feel like you need a hug. I feel like you need a pat on the back. I don't want to just hit you over the head with welcome in A to Z Sports Prime Time. I don't know. It's just I feel bad for Titans fans. I really do. It cannot be a fun experience to see your team spiral consistently this way. Anyway, I'm your host, Buck Rising. I'm proud as always to be presented to you by the fine people at Zen Sports. They don't let you down. Betting just gets better when you bet in the Zen Sports app. Promo code ATOZTN gets you in on the action. You've got Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. Go to Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet or online at tworiversford.com for more information. And, of course, TrueMath Fitness, where your first workout is free as a Middle Tennessee resident. No workout ever recycled or repeated. TrueMathFitness.com for more details. 24-17. It's the same margin of defeat that the Tennessee Titans suffered last week against the Chicago Bears. Now, I don't know which one felt worse to you. I'll let you guys, maybe that's the way that we should start this show. I gave Parker a different, Bert also, by the way. Bert is not here with us tonight because he went to the Ravens-Raiders game to also watch his team go down 0-2. So at least if you know the Titans fans are miserable, you probably didn't have Super Bowl expectations this year. The Ravens thought that they had everything that they needed to beat the Chiefs. Not only did they not beat the Chiefs in week 1, they're down 0-2, and that really, really hurts your percentage chance of making the postseason. So, anyway, with everything that's going on and the way that the Titans lost this game today, which loss felt worse to you, Chicago or today against a pretty beatable Jets team? We'll talk about it together. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. It's your Two Rivers Ford Take. It's presented by the South's most trusted Ford dealer, Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet, or online at tworiversford.com. They have been doing it for over 4 decades here in Middle Tennessee. They're one of the largest Ford dealers in the country, largest volume Ford dealers in the country, but not because they're corporate. They're locally owned and operated. Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet or online at tworiversford.com. Which loss felt worse between the Titans, 24-17 margin of defeat, where Will Levis literally gives away the game in Chicago, or today, where you looked okay? Like, you looked like a competent football team defensively. I think a lot of people are fired up about what this thing could be. Offensively, Calvin Ridley and Levis, they started to find a bit of a groove as that game wore on, though too little too late. And of course, the fumble with Will Levis in the second quarter when he's got them at third and goal from the 6, when he coughs that fumble up trying to avoid pressure, ends up throwing it behind himself at Tajay Spears. It ends up being a sack fumble as ruled by the officials, and Quinton Williams ultimately recovers. Now, they just didn't turn that fumble into turnover or into points, but it looks very much like the pick 6 that Levis threw, and you're thinking in your head, how the hell could he do that again with this guy? So, what felt worse? Last Sunday or this Sunday? Week 1 or week 2? I would be curious to know how you guys feel about it, because today couldn't have felt good. Like I said, says Bears felt worse. Halo says Bears game was worse. Chicago was worse, far worse, no contest. McLean says today because the game was right there. It looks like the majority of you are saying Chicago. Maury Williams just says both. Yes, I understand. I'm sure it's painful, but for the most part, it seems like a lot of people are saying the Bears game without a doubt. Chicago felt like stubbing your toe and breaking your toe. Yeah, that was that. It's just a gut punch, right? The way that he loses that game on the pick 6. John Moreland says this Sunday, and again, I think it's because the Jets looked so beatable. Rodgers didn't do anything special, right? I mean, he had a couple of throws to Garrett Wilson. It was mostly the skill players. I mean, the Breece Hall 26-yard touchdown reception over Kenneth Murray was a really nice play by both of them. It was a really nice throw by Rodgers. It's a really nice catch by Breece Hall. But I think that today did feel like progress to some extent, right? Even if it ended up being the same kind of question mark that you have, because the reason I asked the question, excuse me, I got a cough. The reason that I asked the question is because at the end of the day, we're still talking about the quarterback and his decision-making. And I know that there were improvements, but your defense wasn't as good as it was against Chicago, understandably so. It was good in the first half, and then the second half, it just couldn't sustain, right? 5 3-and-outs for the offense today. Not just the fumble that Will Levis coughed up, not just the interception that Treylon Burks should have come down with instead of giving it over to a Jets defensive back who only had like one arm in the play. There were a variety of different things that fell short. Now, Callahan took responsibility for 5 3-and-outs. He said that was on him. He has to be better. I came away feeling like, all right, that wasn't so bad, but because it's the quarterback that we're talking about again, I don't know if it doesn't feel a bit worse to an extent, because still we're having to answer these questions, or maybe he's just in real time proving people who doubt him right about his inability to adjust in a big spot. It was bad. It was bad to see him do that today. And I know he hit Ridley for the 40-yard touchdown. And I know that he made a couple of nice passes, one that Ridley should have absolutely been able to come up with, hit him in the hands, a deep shot earlier. And Callahan was talking about, continuing to be aggressive down the field that way. And then the aggressiveness felt like it didn't really play itself out in the second half, because you can't trust the quarterback with his decisions. Like, the play calling is impacted if you're trying to either hide the quarterback or limit his mistakes because you don't trust him. And, I don't have the clip here for you handy of him fumbling the football and Will Levis walking off the field. I'm sure if you watched it on CBS Today, or if you were at the game, maybe you saw the clips going around on social media. As Will Levis is walking off the field after he fumbles that football, Brian Callahan is looking at him, and I'll say earmuffs if you're watching with children. Brian Callahan is looking at him and saying, "Hey, why the fuck did you do that? What? It's like that Patrick Ewing clip from when he was the Georgetown coach a couple of years ago, where he's getting into that player's ass a little bit about when do you practice that play? You don't practice that play. What are you doing trying to make a play like that?" He's looking at Will Levis and saying, again, I'm going to say earmuffs, what the fuck was that? That is how everybody watching that game felt. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy that we're still having this discussion about him. Will Levis, and I'm going to play you a couple of clips from Will Levis in his press conference today. But between these two games, Chicago felt worse because it was, I'm not a Titans fan, and it felt like that interception was something that made you go like oof, like you got hit in the chest, like hit in the gut or something like that. Like you got the wind knocked out of you, no matter who you are, because it's just such a mind-numbingly bad decision by Levis. And today, when he made the same play, it wasn't as costly, right? Because it didn't result in points. It didn't result in a pick six or anything like that. But honestly, it's more concerning to me because he did it again. Why are you doing that? What are you doing? And that's what Brian Callahan was saying to him as he came off the field. Will Levis talking about a couple of different things today. This was the press conference a few hours ago with us at Nissan Stadium.
Kind of the same story as the last one. We had a solid first half, and then we lose a turnover battle 2-0. We give up another block punt. We haven't got a turnover yet on defense. And, we go 5 3-and-outs on offense. That's on me. I can't let that happen. We were okay running the ball. It wasn't great. It wasn't terrible. Defense played well in the first half, and then when we needed to stop, we couldn't get one. It's partially on our offense for not sustaining many drives. So that was difficult to overcome. I thought we played better than last week, but the mistakes were critical. And you lose 2 one-score games, and your turnover margin after 2 games is -4, and you're going to have a hard time winning. So that's ultimately the name of the game, is protecting the ball and getting it back for us to go score. And I didn't see exactly how it happened. I just know it happened. Just came off the edge, and it looked like a lapse in release timing and technique. And so, look, it's inexcusable for us. We can't have, that's 2 games in a row to get a punt block. I don't know that I've been around a block punt in 6 years. So to have it happen back to back is really frustrating. But that's on all of us to fix that. That's on me to fix that. That's on Colt, and that's on everybody else to make sure we're doing our jobs on special teams, because as of now, it hasn't been good enough all the way around.
So that's Brian Callahan speaking to the media earlier today, what was that, about 3 hours ago, with us in the press conference at Nissan Stadium. A to Z Sports Prime Time is made possible by Zen Sports. Download the app, bet on football, college, pro, whatever you got. The NFL, college football back in full effect as we're watching the Texans and the Bears with you tonight. Up to $100 on your no danger first wager. Terms and conditions do apply. Gambling problem, call the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789 at Zen Sports. Must be 21 plus and in the state of Tennessee to bet. So Brian Callahan, frustrated, right? I mean, it's not in that clip specifically, but I'm going to read you something that he said earlier today about it being miserable. Miserable is the word that he used. He said it's miserable, honestly, the way that they were unable to score, the way that they have been outscored in the second half of games right now, which completely and understandably so, it has been a struggle for them in the second half of games in particular. I don't know if I'll ever see the Tennessee Titans team in the regular season score more than 17 points in my life. It's infuriating that we're still talking about this. But he was asked today, you mentioned the kind of similarities to last week's game, because they did have a block punt. It didn't result in a touchdown. They did have a dumb Will Levis play. It didn't result in a touchdown. So I guess those 2 things are improvements. But he says, or he's asked, I guess one of the disappointing things is the fact that you guys have been outscored pretty widely there in the second half. And Callahan's response, and this is a direct quote, yeah, it's miserable, to be honest. It's hard to overcome when you're getting outscored like that, and we're putting ourselves in good position. We had opportunities, and we're not doing a good job capitalizing on when we have them. So ultimately, I think it's just disappointing. And now I thought, not how, he says, not how I thought the start of the season would look. And here we are. I mean, two times today specifically, did they have touchdown? Well, actually, 3 times today did they have touchdown opportunities that they squandered. One was a Calvin Ridley drop, a really nice pass by Levis that was dropped by Ridley. Now, Ridley made an insane catch in the second half, at the start of the second half, to make up for it. So perhaps you wipe that, you absolve Ridley of that, but that's an offensive issue. That's not specifically a Ridley issue or a Levis issue, but Ridley did drop that ball. Then you have the fumble, which is a 3rd and goal from the 6, where you're getting ready to go up on the Jets. You're up 7-0 at the time in the second quarter. You're getting ready to, you can at least go up 10-0. And he just does the same thing that he did against the Bears, except this time it's not a pick six, it's a fumble. He's trying to evade pressure. He kind of hops to his left and trips. While he trips, he's trying to do the thing again. He's like shot putting the ball in the direction of Tajay Spears, but it's a backwards pass. So when it bounces, it's technically a fumble, and he's technically sacked. So it goes down as a sack fumble. Quinnen Williams recovers it. Jets don't turn it into points, but still, you cost yourself an opportunity at a field goal. You shot yourself in the foot. And then the third opportunity is today when they're getting ready to tie the game. He's got Calvin Ridley open. And he chooses instead, and Dan Orlovsky had a really nice breakdown of this. In fact, I'll see if I can pull it up here. It is this 1st and goal play with 46 seconds and counting. Levis takes the snap out of the shotgun. Ridley's open for the touchdown, and Levis takes off running and gets smoked by a defensive back. That's a game-tying touchdown. Game-tying touchdown, assuming that they make the extra point. But still, it's a work in progress. Here's all right. We're going to do both sides of this thing today, because it sucks. It sucks to go down 0-2. It all but kills your chance to make the postseason, because here are the numbers on teams who go down 0-2. I got it from the Baltimore Sun today, because the Ravens, ironically enough, have gone down 0-2. They blew a game against the Raiders today. Since the NFL playoffs expanded, and this is directly from the Baltimore Sun, since the NFL playoffs expanded to 14 teams in 2020, 32 franchises have started the season 0-2. Only 2 of those 32 teams, Cincinnati in 2022 and Houston in 2023, made the postseason. So that's 6.25%. For those of you keeping score at home, only 2 of those 32 teams made the postseason. And they've got those 2 teams had Joe Burrow and CJ Stroud, who we don't know for certain yet, but is trending towards being a really good quarterback. And certainly based on the weekend, the Sunday that the AFC South had, he's certainly the best quarterback in the division, with what happened to Trevor Lawrence and Anthony Richardson today. My God, good for Malik Willis, by the way. Good for Malik Willis, who got a win in his new home in Green Bay. Just 5. Here's the other part of it, because it's not. I mean, whether you're going to make the playoffs or not, I think a lot of you expected to make the playoffs, given how much money you spent to put this roster back together. Because 10 Titans, that went away. 10 Titans 96 says, we ain't a playoff team with our quarterback situation, no chance. Well, that's what you're trying to find out. You spent all this money to find out if you can be a playoff team with your quarterback situation, and if he's not just the quarterback of right now, but if he's the quarterback for the Titans' future, not just the present, but the future. And that is the infuriating part of this. Is it's probably going to take all 16 or I guess 15 of these remaining games to make that determination. But so far through the first 2, he's not covering himself in glory. So 2 of the 32 teams made the playoffs since 2020. Just 5 of the 32 teams finished with a winning record. Only 3 teams in the history of the sport have ever won the Super Bowl after an 0-2 start. And again, that's courtesy of the Baltimore Sun, who was writing that today, because Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens are down 0-2. Ravens, you feel like, have a pretty good opportunity to bounce back at some point. Titans division is dog shit today. Turns out the AFC South is who we thought it was the entire time. We were hoping it would be more competitive. We were hoping it would be more, just generally more fun to watch. But to date, right now, only the Texans seem to have any kind of confidence in their quarterback situation. And the only reason that the Jags probably feel the worst out of any of these three teams is because they're paying their guy $55 million a year to stink, to go down 0-2. So this is a really tough spot for the entire division at this point. Bork says, spin this into hope, Buck. Challenge yourself. Well, I just did. The hope is that your division is crap. So maybe you hope that everybody else in the AFC East and the AFC North just kind of guts it out to eliminate the potential of a wild card team out of one of the other divisions, and you try and scratch and claw your way in there. But the Texans look like the genuine article, and they are currently up 3-0 over the Chicago Bears, who look like an infinitely beatable team. If the Texans lose this game to Caleb Williams, then I'm sure they're going to have plenty of questions on their own, although Caleb Williams just delivered a really, really nice pass to DeAndre Swift under pressure there as they look to try and capitalize here on the road. So with everything that they've got going on, Roll Tide Roll says, Buck, bro, be honest, we don't have any hope unless Levis turns into Brady somehow. Well, I can't believe you guys are coming to me for hope. That's how I know you're bad. That's how I know you're down tremendous. If you're looking to me to provide you some kind of hope about your football team, then again, I want to do the thing that I started the show with, which is just offering. I wish I could give you a hug. I feel sad for you. I really do at this point. I don't like to see you guys be this miserable for this long. I was actually having dinner with a couple of people that work in the league, a couple of people that work with the team, and also some people that work elsewhere in the NFL in a different capacity. What was that? Friday night. And one of the team employees remarked that they had not yet seen a winning season because they signed on with the Tennessee Titans as an employee in 2022. And I had to sit there and be like, oh my God, it has been a long time since they've done any winning of consequence. And the losing, I'm just kind of numb to it at this point. I can't imagine how you guys feel. So with everything that they have going on right now, I'll try and give you some hope. Okay. The hope is that it got better today than it was in Chicago. Wasn't good enough to win a football game because your quarterback made the most egregious decision of the day. Again, it wasn't the most harmful decision. Well, no, it didn't end up being the most harmful decision of the day because, again, it didn't result in points that way, but it was not good to see. I guess the thing that you can say is that they were not as bad as they were last week, and the defense didn't give you as stellar a performance as it did last week, but there is reason for optimism about Levis and Ridley. They look better as the second half went on. It's just that the mistakes cost them early. Rock says, we can tell you're numb to it, Buck. Losing wears on you. Losing wears on you. What did Mike? I know you guys are very quick to invoke how happy you are that Mike Vrabel's not here anymore, but I bet Vrabel and Tannehill and Henry's probably not because he's also down 0-2. He's probably like, what the hell happened here? I was supposed to be on a Super Bowl contender, and now we can't beat the Raiders. But Vrabel and Tannehill are probably looking around and be like, see, we weren't the only problems with everything that was going on there. And this is an entirely new team. It's like you have some kind of bad juju around your franchise that needs to be saged away, right? You need to exorcise the demons out of the Tennessee Titans. It's unbelievable. So I think that with this, ultimately, the most concerning thing is we're talking about Levis and his decision-making again. The hope comes from they were better today, more well-rounded as a team today, including him. He had a bad game because of that decision, and the interception is not on him. Brian Callahan, or at least from Brian Callahan's standpoint, he said it wasn't on him. Traylon Burks had that catch and just got it taken away from him from a Jets wide receiver. And I know some of you are saying, well, it was underthrown and into double coverage. We asked the coach about it. The coach said he was fine with the throw. The throw was on the money. The receiver caught it, and the receiver couldn't hang on to the ball through the process of the catch. He got it taken away from him. So the interception to me, and, it sounds like the Brian Callahan is on Traylon Burks, not on Will Levis, and all interceptions need to be taken within context. But again, 2 turnovers again for the quarterback, and the fumble is the most ghastly one. So I can't. Jay Thomas says, "Buck talking y'all off the ledge. Please don't literally be at that point." I do feel it necessary because listen, there are some things that genuinely concern me about it, and the thing that genuinely concerns me is your quarterback does not. You can't trust him. I mean, not yet. You can't trust him yet, and that's why I don't fault Titans fans at all for contemplating fan-led decisions, right? But it is only week 2. It feels worse because it is your quarterback and because you saw him do it twice. I was confident, and I am confident that Bears pick 6 is going to be the worst play of his career. But that he tried to do it again today does not make me feel much better about the fact just because it didn't result in a touchdown. You just can't have it. You can't have it. So instead of me rambling on about it, I'm going to let you hear from Will Levis because that's the first question that I asked him as we opened up his press conference today.
Destroy old habits.
Yeah, it's tough, but I mean, it's. I'm not going to point to one play as to what lost the game, but obviously I can look internally as to what I can do better. And you're right, something that I wanted to clean up that didn't get done this week. Disappointing for sure. That's how I want to be better for my team this week.
Not even just specifically that one individual play, but yeah, a punt block in this game. I just speak on the team.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Callahan came in and said the same thing. It's like deja vu. It's not twice in a row, shooting ourselves in the foot. Not going to win football games like that. Talking heavily about winning the turnover battle, and it's something we can't do right now.
So that's Levis, because I asked him, about how the game ended up, and he immediately defaulted to the fumble, and it was a little low there, so I'm not sure if you heard all of it, but he said, I'm not going to let one play define the game, but obviously, I'm cognizant of the fact that I made a mistake there, and I'm going to do everything in my power to improve upon it. But it did have deja vu vibes, right? Down to the way that throw looked, the fact that Brian Stonehouse again is getting a punt blocked. How is this happening so often? I mean, speaking of talking to team officials and all this other stuff, I was texting with some people that work with the team today, and one of them joked, I think it was a joke at least, that somebody's getting fired if we lose again, but I don't know if it's a joke. I don't know who you would fire if Colt Anderson gets fired 3 games into his tenure as a special team coordinator because he can't figure out how to protect the punter. Julius Chestnut is the person who took accountability for that today, and I'm sure that, I have no idea. I'm not in Colt Anderson's meeting, so I'm not sure what Colt Anderson is coaching them up on. But you can see on film how the guy gets just right by Julius Chestnut into the punter. The fact that they had that kind of mistake again. Joshua Mullen says, Craig Aukerman part 2. Listen, man, you can't blame all these people who are no longer with your franchise for your problems anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like Mike Vrabel doesn't coach the Tennessee Titans anymore. Brian Callahan does. Craig Aukerman doesn't coach the special teams anymore. Colt Anderson does. Like and I understand because you had an offseason with so much change, right? Where you're getting all new players and you're getting all new coaches and vibes are high. You got Bill Callahan, O-line Jesus. He's going to make everything right. And then, you get to the actual football and you're like, oh, this is still a team with a lot of problems, even though they've brought in a bunch of different stuff. And it's definitely not a good team collectively yet. They're not playing well collectively yet. So just because it's different doesn't mean that it's better. Yes, Benjamin Buck says, oh, yes, we can blame people who are no longer here with the franchise for the things that are going on. I just don't know how you can do that in good conscience. We can blame the past staff all we want. You can't stop us. No, I can't. I'm not. I mean, I guess I can. You do what you want, but there's living, breathing human beings who are actually running this show who are also making mistakes that I assume would deserve some actual scrutiny from you instead of just trying to blame people who are no longer here and probably happier for it at this point. Jamie says, are we sure Vrabel doesn't coach the team anymore? Because it damn sure looks like Vrabel's play calling and offensive coordinators. Here's what seems to get lost in the shuffle. And I'm not saying that, it's not like it doesn't get talked about a lot, or maybe it doesn't get talked about enough. But what was Tim Kelly a bad offensive? Let's take Tim Kelly, right? Not just because he was the most recent. Well, yeah, just because he was the most recent one. And by the way, Todd Downing, Keith Carter, and Tony Dews, quarterbacks coach, passing game coordinator, offensive line coach, and running backs coach, formerly Titans assistants, they all got their revenge against you today. So if you let Andre Dillard and Malik Willis get one over you next week, you and I are going to be having a much different conversation. So Todd Downing got the revenge game over you. Todd Downing scored 24 points today. Titans again scored 17. Just infuriating. But was Tim Kelly a bad play caller? No, I don't think so. I've seen Tim Kelly be good at offensive play calling before. I've seen Tim Kelly be good with DeAndre Hopkins before. Tim Kelly was good with DeAndre Hopkins last year. So then you would say to me, well, what do you mean? They scored 17 points a game again. They were terrible. They were too predictable, all these other things. Well, what's your roster look like? What do you have to work with? Who's playing left tackle? Can you afford to leave that left tackle out on an island? Can you afford to have that person out there without help? Or are you going to have to keep more players in on your blocking schemes to protect your quarterback because your offensive linemen aren't sufficient? What does that do? That condenses your playbook. It limits the amount of things that you can run when you don't have offensive linemen that can win one-on-one. What do the Titans not have right now? Their offensive linemen aren't winning. I saw J.C. Latham have a solid game. Peter Skoronski didn't have nearly as bad a game as he did against Chicago, though I'll go back and rewatch a lot of this stuff to see if there's anything I've missed or anything that I didn't see on the first watch through from the press box. NPF got taken for a ride today. Dylan Radins was not bad overwhelmingly upon first watch, but I'd be curious to see how that collective unit looks right now because that is still very much a work in progress. So is Tim Kelly a bad play caller or is Brian Callahan a bad play caller? And Todd Downing, I'm not going to make excuses for Todd Downing. Todd Downing, they were not a good roster in 2022. 2021, they were sufficient. Todd Downing was the offensive coordinator for a team that got the number 1 overall seed with the most injuries in the history of football. And also, he was your red zone coordinator when you had one of the most successful red zone offenses in football. So it's not like just because Todd Downing was bad and it got worse doesn't mean that Todd Downing was bad the entire time, right? Todd Downing did a lot to help you, as did Arthur Smith, as did, certain pieces when the spotlight wasn't all on them and when the roster was better. But you know what gets 10 times harder? When your roster sucks or when your roster isn't working together well as a team yet. Doesn't mean that it can't, but yet. Yeah, your play calling suffers for it. You have to call a different version of the game or a different play or a different selection of plays that you have because when you get in the game and you realize, oh, we can't run this because we can't hold up in pass pro or we don't have a quarterback who's going to make good decisions or Tajay Spears isn't in the game because he's getting his foot or ankle looked at. So now we have to do things with Julius Chestnut instead of Tajay Spears. There are adjustments to that. So it's all a product of a variety of different things. It's not just one thing that you can boil down to, even though we're talking about Titans fans and a lack of faith in Will Levis today. And to be completely honest, I totally understand why you would not have faith in Will Levis. Him doing that again is a problem. C High Rocket on YouTube says, defense did their job. Well, no, they didn't. Defense did their job in the first half. The defense had a good first 6 quarters of the NFL season. And those last 2 quarters were not good. This team has yet to generate a single turnover in 2 NFL football games. They've got too much talent to not be generating any kind of turnovers. And I know that Brian Callahan and Denard Wilson are not Mike Vrabel and Shane Bowen, but the Titans were not creating turnovers last year either. Like there is a noticeable absence of turnovers for this Titans defense with some of the same personnel, even though it's a different scheme. So defense gave up 2 touchdowns in the second half. Now, is a part of that because they're exhausted? Because the offense is going 3 and out 5 different times, 5 total 3 and outs throughout the course of this game. Randy Thomas said they were tired in the second half. Yes, I completely acknowledge that. But if you're telling me that the defense did their job, but the defense allowed 2 second-half touchdowns and a 26-yard completion to Mike Williams, who only had that one 26-yard completion, a 26-yard touchdown to Breece Hall over Kenneth Murray. Yeah, the defense did not do their job for the entirety of the game because if the defense did their job for the entirety of the game, maybe you win the game. I'm not saying that the defense is responsible here, that the defense isn't good or can't be better. I think that we have not been – I don't think that we have been giving them enough credit in the offseason for what this unit might actually be able to be if it ends up staying consistently healthy or somewhat healthy throughout the course of the season. I think there is a lot of promise on that defensive side. And I will again say to you, when you only score 17 points, the way that this franchise has done now for 2 straight seasons and now 2 more games, then everything is magnified. You shouldn't have to lean on your defense that way. Yes, you have good defensive players. You have a good defensive scheme. I think you have a good defensive play caller. Hell, you better hope that the defense doesn't do too well this season, because Denard Wilson 100% screams to me future head coach of the New York Jets or something like that when Robert Saleh inevitably gets fired because they don't make the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers, because that team is not Super Bowl caliber. I know I picked them to go to the Super Bowl this year in the AFC, but Aaron Rodgers does not look like Aaron Rodgers, save for a few moments today. Perhaps that'll get better throughout the course of the season. But you can't tell me that the defense did their job when the defense allowed 2 second-half touchdowns. And I get that they're tired, but it's not good enough. Something has to provide winning football for the Tennessee Titans. And in the last 2 seasons, and now 2 games into what is supposed to be this new era of Tennessee Titans football, they haven't been able to stop the bleeding, and they're still only scoring 17 damn points, which is completely inexcusable in today's NFL. Completely inexcusable. And it magnifies everything. When you can't score, everything feels worse. Everything feels worse. Everything is magnified. You're hypersensitive to every defensive play, every special teams play, because you have these, you have these issues. Max Titan says, Buck revels in our misery. No, I don't. I feel bad for you. I'll listen to this, okay? I had to think about this today while I was sitting in Brian Callahan and Will Levis' press conference. And we were talking about this, myself, Teron Davenport, Jimmy Wyatt, everybody that covers the team. We're sitting in the press conference waiting for Callahan to come in, because he's who starts off the postgame press conferences before Will Levis comes in and the whole deal. And Teron and Glennon and whomever else in there is just sitting there thinking, like, I can't imagine how it feels to be a Titans fan. You have to be miserable. You have to be completely miserable. I didn't go into the locker room today. This is the first time in 8 years that I've covered a game that I didn't go into the post-game locker room. I said, I don't need to. What are they going to tell me? The same shit that they've been telling me for the past couple of weeks? The same thing that I witnessed last season? I don't need another sad boy locker room. Those quotes aren't going to be helpful to me. Those guys aren't going to tell me anything that I don't know. They know that they watched they played the game that I watched, right? They know what happened. I know what happened. It's copy, paste, and repeat. I didn't go to the post-game locker room today. I went upstairs. I wrote about Will Levis because Will Levis said he needed to alter. Well, I'll play you the clip because it was kind of jarring for me to hear this from a 25-year-old quarterback who's 11 starts and into his second season. He's talking about needing to rewire his brain at this point in his career. Craziness.
Destroy old habits.
It's tough, but I mean, it's everything's tough about this sport in this position, and it's just something that might not have crossed my brain in the offseason. I'm not preparing mentally. I'm more so focused on the playbook and obviously watching film to see how guys are playing and developing and running games. But I just can't let that happen.
Brother, you can't be talking to me about rewiring your brain. You're a 25-year-old quarterback. You're not Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson I just think recently, I think Richardson might be 22 at this point. He might still be 21. I don't know. But Anthony Richardson, brother, you are a pretty formed player, a pretty formed human being. You've got a pattern of behavior here. And you're talking to me about rewiring your brain? And I get what he's saying. He has to say something. He's not doing it on purpose. I don't think he's doing it on purpose. I'm not ridiculous. But rewiring your brain, you're into your second season. You're an NFL starting quarterback. You've just had an entire offseason to get as much of this down as humanly possible. And still you're doing this. Don't talk to me about rewiring your brain. And I guess if you're going to say something like this, how? Electroshock therapy? What are we talking about? It was a jarring quote to me, because this is somebody, I'm not saying that everybody is fully formed as a human being at 25 years old, But this is what NFL teams look like, upside with players, right? How close to your ceiling are you, right? Richardson, he was not good today, from what I understand. I didn't get a chance to see the game. I know he lost to Malik Willis, which, and not to despair, I'm genuinely happy for Malik. I'm glad that he got an opportunity to start. I'm glad he went out there and won a game. You better hope that he doesn't win a game against you. Again, otherwise we're going to have a much more serious conversation amongst ourselves. But I don't root for Max Titan or whoever says revels in your misery. No, I'm tired of it. I'm sick of it. I don't want any more sad boy locker rooms. I don't want any more sad boy Titans fans. You're talking about sad boy Titans losses. It is a pattern of behavior that is exhausting. It drains me. It drains you guys. So no, I don't root on your downfall at all. But it's my job to talk about your football team, and your football team hadn't been worth a shit in 3 years. It's frustrating. I understand. I genuinely feel bad for you. I want you guys to have some success because I've seen you guys have success, and I know it's been fleeting. I know that 2019 and 2020, even 2021, right? When it was tough and it was miserable and you're losing a bunch of players, but still you're gutting it out, and Vrabel wins Coach of the Year, and vibes are high until the whole bottom falls out. The Titans franchise, to me, has been broken since the Bengals playoff game. Genuinely. Bork says Buck is dying to cover a good football team that can score more than 17 points a game. I just don't even think you have to be that good to score more than 17 points. Jets scored 24 today. Jets aren't a good football team. Jets are completely beatable. You don't even have to be good to score 24 points in the NFL. You just have to be you just can't have brain dead moments the way that I've seen this quarterback have twice. So like I said, I mean, I am starting to feel your level of frustration, even though, I'm not a fan of the team and I'm an objective media member and I work with you guys every day. I'm here with you guys every day, whether it's 3 hours of radio, an hour of prime time at night, whatever. And I'm tired of watching you drag your asses around because it's terrible. I don't blame you, but I'm tired of it. Anyway, sorry, I feel like I'm just yelling at you after you suffered yet another defeat. I know it's not your fault. I'm not mad at you. I'm just God almighty. It's just bad football. And it doesn't matter how many pieces and parts that you've changed. Like Brian Callahan said today, it's miserable. He didn't expect the start of the season to go this way. I'm sure you guys didn't expect the start of the season to go this way. And even me, I'm not I'm not the eternal optimist about all this stuff, but I sure as shit didn't expect you to look like this and still not score more than 17 points a game. That makes me want to slam my head against my standing desk in the office just a couple of times. Jackie Holbert says, Buck out here taking his frustrations out on the victims. I know, I'm sorry. I shouldn't do that. I'm not yelling. I'm not mad at you. I'm disappointed in your football team. And I'm angry at your football team for you. I am. I know maybe it doesn't feel like that sometimes to you guys. I am on your side more often than not, you as a customer, because the product that you pay to watch, it's not good enough. It's not good enough for the amount of time and effort and energy and certainly financial that you expend in your football team. The product has to be better, and they consistently just haven't been able to get the product better. Max Titan says Buck is a Mahomes fan. Shit, yeah, he's great. Of course I am. I'm a Lamar fan. Lamar's great. I'm an Allen fan. Allen is excellent. I'm a DeAndre Hopkins fan. DeAndre Hopkins. I'm a fan of good football. Okay, I just want to watch good football. Same as you. I just want to watch good football. I know you want to watch it. Look, you're gonna make me break down. I'm gonna have a mental episode because I haven't watched good football in so long. It's been so long. Oh my God. Jason Hollinsworth says, get you one of those $30,000 PSL bucks. No, the worst part, I'm paid to be there and I'm bitching about it. I don't spend a dime. I get parking. Hell, I have a parking pass. I have a parking pass. I've got an air conditioned, I sit in a box. It's a press box. I've got free food the whole time. And I'm still bitching about how bad the football is. I can't imagine how you guys feel. That's what I'm saying. I'm paid to be there and it's terrible. God. All right. Jay Harvey says, are you a fan of your Hoosiers slapping around the Bruins? I'm a Notre Dame football fan. But, yeah, it was nice to see Indiana. What is it, like 41-0 on UCLA? It's crazy. Indiana football has never done that in my life. And it made me happier that Notre Dame beat Purdue this weekend. I care more about Purdue losing than I do Indiana winning in football. Anyway. All right. So let's talk about the decisions that are the most correctable out of all of this stuff. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. What is the Titans' most correctable issue right now? We will discuss at length together right after I remind you that the Primetime program is made possible by the great people at the Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage. Don't sell without the intel edge that only Gary Ashton can provide. Go to GaryAshton.com for more information. The official real estate agent of the Nashville Predators, who I'm sure many of you are just ready for their season to start, even after the Titans are only 2 games in. Exhausting. So, what is the most correctable issue that you have? I see 615 Unk saying play calling. Not that Unk, not the sex tape Unk, right? Not Shannon Sharp. Hanging around here. You breathing heavy, Unk? You doing okay? That's one of the funniest things. I saw all week Ocho Cinco coaching up Shannon Sharp on his Instagram live sex accident, I think, saying that he needs to work on his cardio because he's breathing too hard. Anyway, special teams says, like I said, JC Gibson says special teams. It has to be special teams. It has to be special teams. How does the punter keep getting hit this way? Not getting Stonehouse killed. I didn't get to see it, or at least I didn't see it from my vantage point in the press box. But Ramon Foster, my coworker at 104.5, The Zone, which, by the way, 3 hours of radio tomorrow, I'm sure it's going to be a damn roller coaster ride. Hell, we've already done 46 minutes, and I'm not even like through the first segment at this point. Ramon Foster does the sidelines for Titans radio, and he was reporting that after Stonehouse got hit on that block punt, Stonehouse was over on the sideline, visibly angry and yelling. Of course he is. He's going to get hurt again. How could you not be? Special teams has to be the most correctable situation. I don't know how the hell it happened. And again, I'll play that clip for you of Brian Callahan talking about the loss on the whole, because he does bring up special teams. And I believe he says, I haven't been around a block punt in 6 years.
Kind of the same story as the last one. You know, we had a solid first half, and then we lose the turnover battle 2-0. We give up another block punt. We haven't got a turnover yet on defense. And, we go 5 3-and-outs on offense. That's on me. I can't let that happen. We were okay running the ball. It wasn't great. It wasn't terrible. Defense played well in the first half, and then when we needed to stop, we couldn't get one. It's partially on our offense for not sustaining many drives. So that was difficult to overcome. I thought we played better than last week, but the mistakes were critical. And you lose 2 one-score games, and your turnover margin after 2 games is -4, and you're gonna have a hard time winning. So that's ultimately the name of the game, is protecting the ball and getting it back for us to go score. And didn't see exactly how it happened. I just know it happened. Just came off the edge, and it looked like a lapse in release timing and technique. And so, look, it's inexcusable for us. We can't have. That's 2 games in a row to get a punt block. I don't know that I've been around a block punt in 6 years. So to have it happen back to back is really frustrating. But that's on all of us to fix that. That's on me to fix that. That's on Colt, and that's on everybody else to make sure we're doing our jobs on special teams, because as of now, it hasn't been good enough all the way around.
This is a tweet from Rich Cimini. He's the Jets ESPN.com reporter. The Titans are the first team to have a punt blocked in each of their first 2 games of a season since 2012 Washington versus the Saints and Rams per ESPN Stats and Info. It's been over a decade since the teams had back-to-back games with a block punt in them. Brian Callahan saying, I don't think I've been around a block punt for 6 years. How the hell does that happen? So, yeah, I would have to imagine out of all of this, getting the punter killed on a weekly basis is going to be the most correctable issue. And if not, yeah, they're gonna have to make some decisions, because Greg Aukerman is not the person that you can pin the blame on anymore. It's a whole new coaching staff. Special teams, just still for the Titans, a struggle. Sunday fun day. How do I seamlessly transition into the best thing that I saw on Sunday when we just spent damn near an hour commiserating about a football team that the direction is, like I said, I felt like they did play better than they did in week 1 today, but like that it still looks like that. I don't know. I don't know if that's that reassuring. Even though it was better, it was still not good. It was still bad, to be honest with you. Randy Howard says, really couldn't change it up this week to end the show, Buck? No, I've been doing the same show for 6 years, bud. Like, what do you want? That's just, it's not my fault. I can't, it's not the show's fault that the football team didn't win for you. Okay. So instead I've got to show you highlights from another team's game who actually won today, because there was fun football elsewhere, even if it wasn't between the Titans and the Jets. Both of those teams just, woof. There was a couple of nice plays like that. That Ridley catch was legitimately insane. The touchdown catch, I thought it was for sure an interception. The way that defensive back came right across as the ball was like on Ridley's like forearm, the way that he had to catch it and bring it in. It was crazy. But I think that come on, Buck. Where did that comment go? Come on, Buck. Did we really believe a second-round pick was going to be awesome? Oh, I don't know. I mean, I don't know about awesome, but he just doesn't. He can't kill you. He can't actively harm you. He's a second-round pick. He's a SEC quarterback. This is somebody who's should have the ability to help you. It's not that he's not awesome. It's that he's a detriment in certain situations. And these situations are more, he is now what? He was 3-6 as a starter last year. So he's 3-8 as the Titans starting quarterback. He threw 1 touchdown and 1 interception today. So he now has what? We are at 10 career touchdowns passing for Will Levis. And is he at, I can't do the math in my head right now. I'm having a hard time. If he was at, so he's 10 touchdowns and 6 interceptions with a 3-8 record. No, it's not that he's not awesome. It's that he's hurting you. That's the concern. If you're trying to justify this by, are we being overreactionary, or is it too soon to be piling on the young quarterback? No, 11 starts is not too soon. I'm sorry. I don't accept that as an answer. He had 1 good year at Kentucky. Okay, why are you telling me this? Like I'm the one that drafted him. I don't know. This is not a comment. Are you going to blame Rand Carthon now? That Rand Carthon. I thought you guys loved Rand Carthon. Rand Carthon is the savior of the Titans. Let Rand cook. You're gonna bury him for the second round pick at quarterback? Come on. What are we talking about here? I people are looking for things to blame, but that's not the conversation that we're having. There seems to be this kind of moving the goalpost. Oh, well, you should never have expected Will Levis to be. No, I can expect a professional sports organization to do a better job with talent evaluation and development. And I can expect professional athletes who are compensated as such to do their damn jobs and not actively hurt their team. It's not an unreasonable expectation. Why are you treating it like that? If your standards are so low because your football team has disappointed you that much, that you're saying, well, did you expect a second-round pick to be awesome? No, I expect a second-round pick to play and play well. He had 1 good year at Kentucky. Okay, why is that my fault? What are you talking about? What kind of conversation are you having here? Yes, I expect the second-round pick at quarterback to contribute to the success of the football team. I expect the professional sports organization to do a better job generally with the way that they try and put out a winning product on the field. Don't be ridiculous. And stop trying to move the goalposts on whatever conversation you're trying to have because your football team keeps letting you down. No, continue to hold your football team and the players to a high enough standard because your owner is saying they have Lombardi aspirations in Tennessee. And that's all well and good. I don't mind that. I'm all good with that. Totally fine with you having Lombardi aspirations. I'm not going to knock you for wanting to win a Super Bowl. But at some point, something's not being done right here. And you can point all the fingers that you want, but at the end of the day, the product is failing. I almost just gave out the phone number like I'm doing the radio show. Anyway, it's supposed to be Sunday Funday. I was trying to give you a good segment. I was trying to give you a little something to take your mind off of all the bad football. So instead, I'll show you a fat guy catching a touchdown from the Kansas City Chiefs.
Up top they go. And look who catches it. Morris. Wanye Morris. The backup left tackle was eligible.
Little thick six for the Kansas City Chiefs. Who doesn't like to see fat guys catching touchdowns? Now, I know Vols fans might not like Wanye Morris because he left Tennessee to go to, did he go to Oklahoma? I want to say where he ended up being a draft pick of the Chiefs and the backup left tackle there. But yeah, anytime you can see a fat guy catch a touchdown, put a smile on your face. Big Man TD, Sunday Fun Day. That's how we're going to get it done. 615-737-1045. This is Jackie Holbert. I swear to God, I almost did it. That was for sure a radio show type of rant, and then I didn't know where else to go, so I almost gave out the phone number. Old habits die hard. I'll be giving it out plenty tomorrow. Don't worry. You can call me. We can talk. All right. I'm exhausted. I can't do any more of this for one night, so I'll do it for you guys for 3 hours tomorrow. And then I'm, like I said last Monday, we'll do one day of Sad Boy Radio, and then we're going to move on because it's not good for your mental health. It's not good for my mental health. The fact that we continue to have these same damn conversations over and over and over again. Oof. All right. Have a great rest of your night. It's not all that bad because it's only week 2. And the good news is, I mean, theoretically, it could only get better because it just, looking this way, I just can't imagine that they continue to make dumb mistakes like they have that have cost them in these one-score games. But anyway, have a great rest of your night. I'll leave you alone until tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. I'll see you there.
Go home! Go home! Go home! You're embarrassing Nashville! Go home!